guys, welcome back to the channel. It's been a while since I made the last video. If you guys haven't checked out the most recent video, I did explain some news about the Datsun, and we're actually going to be focusing on the Datsun today. But before this video gets started today, be sure to hit that like button and consider subscribing as well. Okay, if you guys haven't checked out the most recent video, I'll put a card right up here on the screen to explain about the Datsun and like what condition it's in right now. But on today's video, we're going to be actually fixing the Datsun today. So I actually got a package in just not too long ago, so let me go ahead and open that up for you guys and explain what's going on today. Okay, if you guys don't know or check out the recent video, I did have an accident with my strut casings like these ones here. Basically what happened is this was cut in half and I couldn't get it welded back on. Like, long story short, I went to go get it cut. I went to go tell him to cut right here. He said it cut too far and I wasn't able to repair them, so I had to order used fairly new ones. These are in pristine, pretty good condition. There are some rust right here. I do plan to paint this as well to make it look nice. Now what I'm going to be doing for today is, alright, so for the plan today, I do have work in a couple minutes, but after I go to work, I'm going to be bringing these strut casings to a welding shop because I do want to get a quote in as well. I definitely want to make sure that I don't cut like anything too far. Like what I need to do is cut this whole thing off, and right where this weld is right here, if it just focus up. Let's see if I can do it. So I have to cut this weld off, which holds this whole thing here, and what this is specifically for is for the spring for the Datsun. Now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be cutting this off, and what happens, and actually let me get the part for you. Alright, so this here is a metal perch or a ring. So what this design is for is to hold the new coilover conversion kit. So what this does is first I have to cut this all around to cut what that weld is right there, so this can fit right over the sleeve just like that, and afterwards it's going to get welded somewhere around on the strut casing. And once this is off and this is going to be welded, this coilover conversion kit just sits right on top right there. So once that metal perch is on, this just slides right over and just sits where this metal perch will be right here on the strut casing. So this can sit on top, and this will replace this whole metal perch. This, I'm not really sure what it's called, just the metal piece where the hold the spring is. So for now, I'm going to be heading to work, but afterwards I'm going to be heading to the welding shop to make sure I do everything right and to see like where that metal perch will be welded onto the strut casing. So with that being said, I'll see you guys back at home. Alright, hey guys, welcome back. We're finally back home from work. I already went ahead and stopped at the welding place already to see how much it will cost to get those metal perches welded onto my strut casing. They roughly said about $65 each, which is a pretty good deal. They already told me what I need to cut specifically, just mostly the weld and maybe the whole metal piece to hold up the spring. I'll go into more detail about that in a sec, but let me show you guys what we're going to be doing right now. Okay, like I said before, I needed to get or cut the welds that are right here that holds the whole spring together. If you guys look really closely, if you can focus. So right around this little line right here is the weld, and he told me that I have to cut on the edge or on the side, not directly on the center on the weld, because this thing should pry off once I just cut all around it. So I'm gonna go ahead and try that first, and if it doesn't, we're gonna go ahead and try a new plan. So let me guys show you what we're gonna be cutting with today. Okay, so here's just my cheap setup or my work table here. I already got my angle grinder, got some gloves, and of course I have like a little safety mask protecting from all the sparks because they actually burn a lot. Just a trash can and a piece of wood because I just need something to balance everything out once I cut the weld around. So with that being said, let's go ahead and start the cutting process. Okay guys, so when trying to cut this weld, I did notice that it doesn't look like it's peeling off whatsoever. Like I tried shaving down a little bit more, but I don't want to go too far because I don't want to cut into the strut casing. So I noticed when I was cutting that there is some welding spots over here as well. So what I have to do now is I'm going to have to cut this piece by piece a little bit shortened down and make it completely fat once it's all finished. So hopefully things go good. If not, well, let's hope for the best then. So let me go ahead and get started on cutting this off. bad news is I kind of fucked up my lens when I was cutting. I guess some of the sparks actually attached to the lens or it burned a little bit. So there's like these little specks around the camera. I don't know if it'll pick up in the video, but luckily it's just a standard lens. I do plan to get a new lens eventually. But for the good news is the strut casing is finally all finished here. All that I had to do was just cut the, let's see if that'll focus really quick. Okay, so as you can see, the metal part that was holding up the OEM spring is no longer there. Like, I got it from both the driver's side and the passenger side. I do have to grind it down just a little bit. I'm gonna see if the welding shop is able to grind this down for me and get that weld. If not, tomorrow morning I'm gonna go ahead and just grind it down as much as possible, just so that metal perch can fit over this sleeve here, as well as a coilover conversion kit as well, to give you guys a better idea like how this is gonna look. Let's zoom out here. I have the coil conversion kit right over here. I'm not gonna put it just on, but you can just picture that just sitting right over there. That's where it's gonna sit. But before I install that, I have to get that metal perch welded, and I have to get this sand down. Okay guys, so a couple days went by after we cut out the Datsun struts. I already dropped them off at the shop, and it is June 4th today. It is 6 o'clock in the morning right now. Yesterday I was able to pick up the parts. They came out really great. I'll show you guys in a sec what they look like. As of right now, we're going to get the Datsun in the garage, put it on jack stands, because we're going to fix the Datsun suspension and replace the rear Datsun suspension as well. So stay tuned for that. Alright, so these are the Datsun struts after they got welded and painted. Like, they even painted it for me. I wasn't honestly expecting that, but I really like how these came out. I like the black finish. The weld from the metal perch is right here, as well as right here as well. This is the coilover fit right here. So for now, we're gonna go ahead and bring this to the garage. But first, we're gonna move the Datsun first. But first of all, huge thank you to Driveline Vista, the guy named Frank, to really help me out on getting this done. If you guys need to get something welded, like a muffler or anything that's similar to what I'm doing, definitely hit up Frank at Driveline Vista if you guys are in the San Diego County. Well, with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and get the Datsun started. Now, so we're going to go ahead and start moving both the front tires, and then we're going to start moving the old strut casing and then replacing the new ones. So let's start. Okay guys, wheel is off. I'm going to go ahead and start moving everything here, including the brake rotor, the brake caliper, the old strut casing. As you can see too, I have no spring at all because like in the previous video I did mention that like my strut casing was cut too far, so I couldn't really put it back together. But that's not going to matter anymore because we have a replacement, and it's going to look so good when the Datsun's all lower now and the suspension will be upgraded. So I'm going to go ahead and start moving this bolt here, the bolt right here, the ones behind the calipers, and I believe there's some underneath the strut casing somewhere down there as well. But my camera's going to die, so I'm going to let my camera charge, and I'll come back to you guys as soon as this is disassembled. So I'll see you guys in. Okay guys, so the existing front strut mounts on the driver's side I just removed. As you can see, I have the existing one right here, and everything is completely gutted on the wheel well here. Now we have just a few bolts on the passenger side, and it'll just pop off. Now once that's done, like I have all the parts that's going into the Datsuns. We got the coilover conversion kit, the top hat, the new struts, and the shocks as well. So that's going to be installed, but I'm going to go ahead and start removing the passenger side really quick, and then we'll start the assembly on this. Okay, just a little comparison for you guys. This is the old version, and this is the new welded version. Like, as you can see, take a closer look right around here. Like, this is where the strut was cut. So unfortunately, it's a lot shorter than this one here, but we're going to be installing this one today. And I have on this diagram. So as you guys can see for this diagram, I'm going to be using my OEM factory top mounts. So this is the side that I want to be on. So I already got the perch welded. As you can see, it's right here. So now I have to do is put on the O-rings, which I have in this bag right here. And then after that, put the threaded sleeve, adjustment perch, the gland nut. Of course, I have the shock right here as well to put inside the strut casing. And afterwards, I believe we just have to tighten down the gland nut, the spring, and we just have to put the top hat and all the nuts and bolts, and then we should be able to install this. So I'm gonna go ahead and start assembling for this guy. So here's the before and here's the after, and the whole coilover kit, nothing too crazy. Like the top hat is a little high because the shock is already compressed, so all we have to do now is just have to press that down once we put it back together. I'm gonna go ahead and start on the driver's side, put this all together, and then I'm gonna show you guys how to install it. Okay guys, so we're gonna go ahead and start on the driver's side now. Nothing too different here, just putting everything back together. Only thing different is we have to compress the shock just so it can fit on the top hat where the engine bay is. So with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Okay guys, I bolted everything back together. I'm gonna go ahead and lower the front of the car because I'm gonna go ahead and move towards the rear, and then I'm gonna start working on the rear of the car and install the new coilovers. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the wheel on, and I'm gonna start lowering it. Okay, that's definitely lower than I expected, so I definitely have to raise up the car now. I'm trying to get some clearance here. I have clearance of turning left. I don't know about turning right because on the passenger side I do have some rubbing issues, so I'm gonna go ahead and raise the car up just probably half an inch. Okay, I raised the car up half an inch higher. I have good clearance on the fenders. However, I noticed on my driver's side when I was putting back on the wheel, there was something rubbing against the tire, and my coilover conversion is rubbing against the tires, so I definitely will need wheel spacers in the future. I'll definitely order that as soon as I get a chance. That's gonna be the next mod to do. Alright, hey guys, welcome back. This is the next day right now. I already got the Datsun back on jack stands because we're gonna start moving to the rear of the coilovers in. Let me actually go get the coilover really quick. So these are the Techno toy real coilovers specifically made for the Datsun280ZX. Now I am very stoked to put these back in, or just install them because I haven't put them in yet. But I can tell already, like, it's gonna be a stiffer suspension, more stiff than the front, I believe. I'm not too sure. It's mostly right now the front of the Datsun's weight is pointed downward because of the engine, so all the load is on the front coilovers right now. But once we lower this right here, that should even out bouncy. So I'm gonna go ahead and start taking off the wheel and loosening up the old strut and the shock, and then we're gonna go ahead and install these. Okay guys, both wheels are off, so now we're going to move underneath the car, and I believe to remove the shock's bolt that connects to the brake assembly or the wheel assembly is a 17 millimeter bolt. So I'm going to take you guys under. I will be using a brake bar as well because I'm not too sure how hard these bolts are, but I'm going to go ahead and get started and go underneath the car and get those loose. So it looks like for this shock right here, I don't believe there's any other bolts besides this one bolt here. So I'm gonna go ahead and just start pounding away and see if it just... Alright, rear strut is out. I'm gonna see if I can try to use the top hat because I don't have any top hats for the new coilover set. So I believe I have to compress the springs here. And I think that's that's about it. So I'm gonna go ahead and start doing that. But first, actually, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and start moving the passenger. Alright, hey guys, so unfortunately I wasn't able to film putting the top hat onto the new coilovers, but I went ahead and actually get some light here. I already went ahead and installed the new coilovers on each side. As you can see, it mounts up right here. However, I had a little issue, or it took longer than I expected because I didn't really figure out what this is at first from Techno Toy Tuning, but I believe it's a new top hat. I decided just to use the OEM top hats because there's a little bit more cushion, and I just didn't want to put extra work into drilling like this hole in the middle right here. I don't believe there's a drill bit that I have large enough for this one, but that doesn't matter right now because we do have the coilovers already installed on both of the sides. So we're gonna go ahead and pop on the wheels back on, tighten everything up and torque everything, and then we're gonna go for a test drive. So I'll see you guys in a bit. Alright, hey guys, so it is currently a couple days past since I announced that we're going to go ahead and test drive the Datsun. I decided to wait on that because my tire was rubbing so much on the front coilover conversion kit. I decided to wait and order some wheel spacers, which happened to came in the mail today. I only just got two just for the front because the front is only rubbing. We're going to go ahead and install it today. I'm actually going to be heading to my friend Albert's house. Albert, he has a E30 sedan, and we're gonna go work on my car just to make sure everything checks out and like the suspension is good. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and get the Datsun, and we're gonna go ahead and start heading up to his house. So I'll see you guys in a second. Alright, hey guys, we are at my friend's Albert's house. As you can see, the Datsun is already parked, and we have the jack stands and the tools ready to put on the wheel spacers, and I'm actually going to raise up the rear as well because I'm having some engine issues right now. It's not idling properly. It might be because like the rear is more towards the ground than is the front, so I'm going to raise the rear, and then maybe the front as well once I put on the wheel spacers. But if you guys don't know, my friend Albert has a clean sedan E30. Right now, it's on stands right now because he has a coilover conversion kit that he's doing right now. Actually, the coilovers are actually on here, if this actually can focus. There we go. So we got some BC Performance Racing coilovers. It looks super nice. So all he has to do is just cut the existing strut the existing strut casing, and then get these welded on, and then he'll be good to go. But for now, we're gonna go ahead and work on the Datsun, which is gonna be right over there. Okay, so my friend Albert, he is jacking up the car right now. What's up, Albert? So right now we're gonna take off the wheels, and then we're gonna put on these wheel spacers here. Now for these ones, these are 20 millimeters, I believe, and they should give me enough clearance in shoes for the coilover and the tires so they don't rub against each other. Right now we're just jacking up the car so we can take off the wheel. Then we're gonna pop these back on. We're gonna lower the car first. I don't think we have to adjust any of the coilovers height or anything, so I'm just gonna pop these on and see how it looks.
Perfect.
Okay guys, so we dropped the car and it's on the spacer right now, and it's completely perfect. It's almost flush with the fender. I don't think I'm gonna have any rubbing issues whatsoever. I'm gonna go ahead and start putting on the passenger side right now. I'm not gonna film it because we just filmed this part already, but the next clip we're gonna go ahead and go for the test drive. Alright, hey guys, so something unfortunately happened when I was trying to test drive the Datsun with my friend Albert. So basically what happened was we were going uphill, or it's not even a big hill, it's like a slight uphill, and I wasn't even going like 20, I was like going like 10-15 miles per hour. So before I started to accelerate, we heard this big bang come from the passenger side, and it was the rear coilover, because as you can see over here in the coilover, this was completely pushed down all the way to the adjustment of the rebound. Actually, let me try to focus for you guys here. Okay, so basically, this is not supposed to be this close to here. This was actually pushed up a little bit more. As you can see, I have the shock cap and the shock itself on the very top right here, and some Techno toy stickers that are just popping out. So I wasn't too sure what was going on. I sent in the email, and they told me that, like, hey, like, we're sorry what happened. We're gonna send you a freshly new built pair, which I was really stoked on, and they came through really well, and I'm really happy to get support from Techno Toy Tuning to send me out a fresh new pair of coilovers for the Datsun. So I already went ahead and removed the two that were in here. As you can see, like, this one's done, and this one is actually, this cap was actually getting really loosened, and it's probably gonna happen to the same one if I kept on driving the car. But I already moved the coilover spring, the top hat, and they're already on the new coilovers, which is sent me out. So as you can see, I already got everything out here. We're just gonna go ahead and reinstall it, and then we can finally go for the test drive. So I'll see you guys once I put everything away and put the new coilovers installed, and then we'll go ahead and get started on this test drive. Okay guys, so a day has passed by. As you can see, I got a haircut, luckily, during this whole quarantine. But most importantly is, the Datsun is finally off the jack stands, and I lowered the car, and the new coilovers are mounted in quite nicely. I'm not too sure if I'm gonna have any issues along the way while driving, but with that being said, we're finally gonna go on the first test drive. I'm not gonna go rough because my engine's still having trouble about running. Like, I just put in new spark plug wires, so hopefully the issue is fixed, but I'm not expecting my hopes to be too high, because, like, I don't think it's gonna be the spark plug wires. But all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start the car, warm up the engine a little bit, and then we can go for the test drive. What do you guys think? The rear is lower, the front is lower. I definitely have more clearance than I definitely had way before I installed these, but with some new wheels and some wheel spacers as well, and more improvement on suspension, this thing will look beast. But right now, I'm totally loving the suspension height right now. Like, there is a pretty significant gap for me to, like, clear stuff. I do have to be careful when going down the dips. That's just my driveway, because it has this weird dip right here. I have to be careful with my air dam that's just right here. In terms of, like, everything else on the bottom, I'm not too sure. I'm gonna find out eventually. But we're gonna go ahead and get started on test drive. I just have to warm up the Datsun, so I'll see you guys in a second. Okay guys, so hopefully you guys can hear me and see me as well. Like, I just have a standard zoom lens, but I'm currently just going around my neighborhood right now, just testing out the suspension. So before, I had my top OEM factory mounts for the top hat, and there's definitely a big difference. The spring isn't rattling around anymore, the shocks feel great, and the new coilovers Techno Toys send me over feels great. I'm really loving the suspension so far. For bumps, I'm a little nervous to take stills, but like, for engine wise, so far it's doing really well. Like, I want to thank you guys for watching and staying with me to the end of the video. Like, this was a long process just to get these coilovers installed, but they definitely, it definitely is worth it. All the stress, all the hard work, just to get these in and get them installed, definitely worth the wait. Don't forget to leave a like and consider subscribing as well, guys. There's going to be more mods coming soon, so I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.